One of my clients went live inside of her Facebook group and did some card pulls for zodiac signs. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I want to share that she showed up. She did something that she genuinely enjoys, and she connected with new Facebook friends and two people that she already knew. Now, why does this matter? Because by the end of that same day, someone was asking about her services. She didn't run any ads. She didn't post a perfectly crafted reel or download some new script or strategy. She showed up. She had a real connection. And then that created an open door. This is what it looks like to have magnetic conversations. It's not pitching and it's not performance. It's literally you opening the door, asking someone else if they want to engage with you. So today on the podcast, I want to share with you how that happens and what it can look like when you build a whole practice around it.
If it doesn't light you up, it won't sell. And that is your sign to shift things in your business. Hi, I'm your host, Maggie Olson. I'm your business mentor, your human design expert, and the creator of the Magnetic Method Designed to Convert formula. I help women entrepreneurs just like you simplify their strategy, align their sales with their energy, and finally build a business that feels like freedom, not like pressure. After nearly 2 decades in entrepreneurship, I have learned that success isn't actually about doing more. It's about aligning with what already works for you, tapping into your natural energy. And here on the Chaos to Clarity podcast, we're going to blend human design with practical business strategy to help you attract clients naturally, sell with confidence, and grow with ease. So, if you're ready to design a business that lights you up, converts with clarity, and learn more about working with me inside of the Magnetic Method mentorship and all of my other programs, you're going to find the link to all of that in the show notes, and you're going to find all of that information here on the podcast. So, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic.
Hello and welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie. I'm your business mentor. And if you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, you will know that we've been building towards something big. And if this is your first time tuning in, well, this is a great episode to be tuning into. So we've been talking so much about why your DMs are not converting and why it's probably not your script. So we talked last week about the lead generation lie and why you may have more leads than you think you do, which is such a common thing. It's such a common thread that I see among so many entrepreneurs. So today I want to kind of just bring things together a little bit more. So today I'm talking about what actually starts to shift when you learn to start the right kind of conversations. Now, I'm going to show you today proof that this actually works, like real proof from real people in a real group. And then I'm going to tell you how to get in. So if you're listening to this, and it's before June 7th, 2026, you can still get into the June cohort of the Magnetic Conversations. So Magnetic Conversations is open right now. It's a 45-day Telegram support chat. And inside of this is where you are going to learn my 20-minute method for generating leads, but also for moving people down your pipeline. Now, if you've been listening to any of the past episodes that I've done in the past 6 months of this year, you'll know I've been talking all about this stuff on the podcast. So you can still get in right now if you're listening before June 7th. If it's after June 7th, go ahead and still click the link below, because depending on when you're listening, either the waitlist is open and you can join the free chat, or maybe there's another cohort that I've opened up. So more cohorts will be opening up. Don't worry about that. So let's dive in here. So the difference between a conversation and a magnetic conversation, what is it? What does that mean? Why am I talking about this? Now, most people are having what I like to call passive conversations. And what is a passive conversation? They respond when somebody reaches out, they reply to comments when someone leaves one, they answer questions when somebody asks, they're reactive at best. And this is not, if this is you, this is not a dig at you. I want you to understand that, because what this is a call out to you to say, hey, you don't have to actually work more to add this in. And that's something that, as I was welcoming people into the group, as I was selling magnetic conversations, it's something that came up a lot. People would say, oh, I don't have time for one more thing. This isn't time. This isn't adding one more thing, right? This time that I'm showing you is kind of like a hack for generating and giving you more time freedom. So it's meant to kind of take the space of which you're already having conversations and amplify it in different ways. So when you think about someone reaching out to you, what happens, right? Are you being reactive, meaning you're just kind of waiting for other people to initiate the conversation? Maybe you're waiting for the right moment, or maybe you're waiting for your content to do your selling so that you don't have to do it. And then you're wondering, why am I getting no sales? Why am I always changing my offer? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe it's not the right thing, right? You've got all these why questions, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with responding, okay? We know I'm a manifesting generator and I love to respond. If responding is all that you're doing, your business is completely dependent on other people making the first move. And that is, quite honestly, really unstable. It's an unstable place to build a platform. And it's not going to, it might be okay in the beginning, but it's not going to have longevity. It's not going to carry you through. Now, when we think about magnetic conversations, these are intentional conversations. You know why you're starting them. You know what you're moving toward, and the other person feels welcomed into it, right? It's kind of this, it, I would call it a pull, but it's not like pitching. It's not pushing. It's not cornering. It's not forcing. It's this welcoming, and it's this kind of like, hey, I'm going to the playground. Do you want to come and play with me? Look at all the cool things that we have here. Okay, so it's really intentional. There's a big difference in the energy, and the other person can feel it. And as a side note, something that I would love for you to think about is that when you're having conversations in your DMs specifically, because most people who work with me are high ticket coaches, consultants, people who have a service based business. Some people are online, and I do actually have some in person clients. So keep that in mind. If you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but I have a massage studio, and like, how does this affect me? Or, yeah, I have a tattoo studio. I want more bookings, but like, how does this affect me? This will, right? This is going to help you have more conversations. Because remember, I have owned businesses for nearly 20 years. Next year, 2027, will be my 20th official year in business. I had businesses from when I was 12 years old, right until now. So that's like almost 30 years, which is a little bit of a crazy thought to think. So I know what it takes for in-person service-based businesses and online service-based businesses to generate more leads. So here's the thing. A lot of people will think that you either vibe or you don't with this. Like, you either have it or you don't. And I just want to say, it's not, learning to have a magnetic conversation is not some like charisma that people are born with. Although some people have this more naturally, some people don't. Now, a lot of people would say to me, Maggie, you are so charismatic. You're so good with conversations. You just know what to say. Yes, because I've had 20 years to hone this experience in, right? Because I've had 20 plus years of having conversations, of selling things that I'm doing to other people. And it boils down to structure and knowing what the first message is. This is why understanding your client journey is so, so important. Okay. It's knowing what the first message is, but it's also knowing what comes after when someone says, tell me more. Or even knowing how to keep a conversation moving without feeling like you're like hurting someone towards a sale. Okay, where it just feels like, oh, hey, come and play with me on this playground. Not, oh my God, do you want to buy my stuff? Right? That's not what we're looking for. Now, when you have this structure, and this is the structure that I teach inside of the 45-day Telegram group, Magnetic Conversations, right? So you have the structure and then you pair it with a genuinely interested person that you're talking to, the conversations stop feeling like work. They start feeling like a connection. And that's what we're going for, because connection matters. In the grand scheme of things, you want people to know, like, and trust you in that order. You want to be known, you want to be liked, you want to be trusted. Now, I will say the like factor, you don't want to be like vanilla like, okay? You want to be liked because you have an opinion. And that is also something where people get stuck in this, I want to be liked and I don't want anybody to not like me. Sometimes you have to be a little bit polarizing, especially in 2026 and beyond, right? That is just the nature of what this is. If you're going to stand out, if you're going to be known, you're going to have to be a little bit polarizing in some of the things that you're doing. Okay. So then once people start to know you, they start to trust you. Okay. So you have know, like, trust. Now that you have that established, you can then move into seen, heard, and understood. You want the people you're talking with to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel understood, because that just enhances the trust factor. But that is for another podcast down the road, right? We'll be covering that topic this season on the podcast. So I want to go into what actually happened inside the pilot group of Magnetic Conversations, because I ran a 2-week test version of this group. Okay, before I built out the 45-day program as it stands today. Earlier this year, I built out a 2-week version because I thought, 2 weeks would be great. Now, it was great, okay? And I had people in there who were like kind of all across the board. And I specifically set it up that way. Now, we know that I've talked a lot about human design on the podcast. I love human design because it helps me understand your energy, okay? The amount of oomph that you want to naturally put in, right? A projector is not going to put in as much oomph as a manifesting generator, and that's okay. So in this pilot group, I had in-person businesses, online businesses, and I had a few people from from all 5 of the human design types. So I got to see a lot of stuff in here. Okay. So with this small group, it was 2 weeks on Telegram. And during those two weeks, every single person generated over 20 leads. Now, I don't just mean new cold leads. I mean, they had at least 20. Most of them actually had 40 leads. But the promise was 20 leads in 2 weeks. So every person generated more than 20 leads. Everyone had multiple people in varying stages of interest in their client journey. Now, why is this important? Because they had cool leads who they'd just connected with. They had warm leads who they'd been warming up and nurturing. And then they had hot leads who were ready to get on a sale, okay? Or a sale call. Now, those are real conversations with real people who expressed real interest, just like I said in the beginning of this episode. And everyone in that group got on at least 3 sales calls in those 2 weeks. Everyone booked multiple sales calls. Everyone had multiple sales calls in that 2-week time period. And every single person in that pilot group closed at least one client without salesy, spammy, please buy my stuff, right? They closed a client because that person was genuinely interested in what these people in my group had. Okay. So one person, one of the women in my group, she hadn't signed a client in over a year. She'd been showing up, she'd been posting, she'd been trying all the things, and nothing was sticking for her. She came into my group, she did the work, okay? And this is the important part. She showed up every single day. She worked the leads she already had access to, and then she closed someone into her 6-week container. So half of it paid up front and half paid, later. So she closed someone into a 6-week container. Okay, that was her first new client in 12 months. Now, the woman that I told you about at the top of the episode, the one who did card pulls in a Facebook group and had someone asking about her services the same day, she, again, wasn't doing anything complicated. She literally showed up with the intention of connection and started a real conversation, and it worked. And I want you to really remember that. Business is kind of boring. Business is very simple. We love to complicate it as humans, as women, we love to complicate it. And that's not a dig. It's simply something as a woman that I've noticed. I myself have complicated my own businesses so many times. So many times. Okay. So I'm not immune to this either. However, now that I am seasoned in business, I now see the patterns for myself, but also for others. So for me personally, it's a little bit easier for me to stop myself, especially, and I saw it when I started Magnetic Conversations. I got a little cocky at the beginning. When I opened up that 2-week program, I was like, oh, we're going to have so many people. This is going to be so good. It was so good. But I was disappointed at the amount of people at first. And then I had to sit back and remind myself, number one, it was something new that I was offering. Okay. Number two, I actually didn't show up as much as I intended to show up. I showed up about half of the amount because life got in the way. Okay. Now, that's not to say it's an amazing program. And it was the foundation for the 45-day program. Okay. It was those 2 weeks were 2 weeks of structure, of accountability, and of doing the actual work inside of a group container. But the kicker is you're learning a 20-minute sprint that you can do as many times a day as you want. You can do it 1 20-minute sprint. You could do 5 20-minute sprints. You could do 10. It doesn't matter to me how often you're doing it, but the thing is you're learning how to be accountable. You're learning how to be accountable to yourself. And in business, in entrepreneurship, that is so important because a lot of us have left corporate and we're like, yeah, done with you. I'm not. I'm all done with corporate. But for me, after I left corporate, the thing I craved the most was that structure. I had no one to be accountable to except for myself. And yes, that is great. And it was wonderful. And it was so freeing. But after like 6 months of leaving my corporate job, I was like, ooh, I'm not getting anything done. And if I'm not getting anything done, I'm not making any money. So I need to make money, right? At the time, I was a photographer. I was teaching yoga, all the things. Okay. Now, what I learned when I left corporate, right, almost 14 years ago, was that you need structure. You need accountability. You need something to hold you hold your feet to the fire. And I think, I'm not saying like type A must cross everything off, right? Must cross every T, dot every I. Not that kind of accountability. It's the accountability of trust that you put into yourself. You're trusting yourself to show up. And if you don't trust yourself, right? The know, like, trust factor for someone else is not going to be there. So showing up with structure and accountability and doing the work inside of the program that I created, right? The Telegram group, Magnetic Conversations. Doing that over 45 days will help you cement in, here's what structure looks like for me. Here's what accountability looks like for me. Here's what doing the work actually does. Okay. And again, I'm not saying you're going and having 100 conversations a day. What I teach you inside of Magnetic Conversations is how to go out and have 3 to 5 conversations, at least 3 times a week, right? I would encourage you in the beginning to have at least 5 days of the week where you're having 3 to 5 conversations. Because if you think about it like this, right? There's 30 days in a month, right? 7 days in a week. And if you're showing up for 5 of those 7, right? So 4 weeks times 5, that's 20 days. If you're having 5 conversations every day, 5 days a week, that's 100 people that you will have brought in, right? 100 new people. Now, of those 100 people, you're continuing the conversation, you're warming, you're nurturing, you're leading them down your client journey process. Okay. If your closing rate is 10%, that means from 100, 10 of those people are going to be warm. They're going to be, yeah, I'll get on a sales call with you. I'd love to learn more about what you're offering. Okay. So then you have those 10, and then you're going to make a sale, because usually 10% closing, 1 out of 10 will close. That's 10%. So what I did over those 2 weeks, I then extended into 45 days, because something that really stood out in that 2-week situation that I had, that pilot group, was that yes, everyone was able to show up. Everyone felt good, but it felt rushed. And that's not something that I want, because business is a marathon. I mean, you could even say business is an ultra marathon, right? You're not in it for like a short while. You're in it for the long haul. Okay. And I want you to, like, understand that you need time to build the muscle, to practice, to have the reps, to see multiple conversations come through from start to finish, to close a client, and to really know and understand how to do it all again. That's why it's 45 days. So let's go ahead and take a quick ad break. I want to talk a little bit about my sponsor, Sattva. So if you've been feeling stuck in the, I feel like I keep losing people in my DMs part of business, part of what makes that happen is there's nowhere to put people once the conversation starts. Now, I know most of you who are listening are probably tracking leads in your head, maybe in your notes app, maybe even a sticky note on your desktop, right? Or even a screenshot, which might be worse, on your desktop. Now, when life gets busy, which it always does, life is going to life, okay? And people tend to disappear. I looked in my messages the other day and realized there were probably 30 conversations that I hadn't answered from like a year ago. And that's not because I didn't want to answer them. It's because I saw the notification come through and I just didn't have time to answer it at the time. So, which essentially meant there's just no system to keep them moving, which is exactly why I built my business in Sattva. So Sattva is a CRM. It's built on Go High Level, and it's where I track every conversation and every follow-up, every lead. It's all in one place, so I no longer miss conversations like that. So I always know who to reach out to and what to say next. So if you're interested in learning more about Sattva, go ahead and click the Sattva link below and either give the 30-day free trial a try, or go ahead and book a sales call, a discovery call with me, and we will, I'll show you what it's all about. So let's go ahead and get back to the episode. Now, like I said, let's talk about what the 45 days actually looks like inside of the Magnetic Conversation, because I want to take you inside of that because a lot of people, when I was doing a lot of selling of this a couple weeks ago, a lot of people sign up for things without really knowing what they're getting into. And I want you to know exactly what this program is. So Magnetic Conversations is a 45-day live group coaching program. It's all inside of Telegram. So right now, the current cohort runs June 1st through July 17th. And I built it out in 3 different phases. So week 1 and 2 are all about lead generation. It's where we start. We're not talking about growing your following or getting more eyeballs. We are identifying the warm leads that you already have access to. So I'm asking you to go into your followers list. I'm asking you to go into your comment section, into your Facebook friends, your IG, all of them. Okay, we're building a daily practice for generating new conversations from people who are already there. Your followers are your warm leads. And if you don't think so, well, maybe my podcast is not for you then. However, the people who have chosen to follow you, those are great leads to start with. A great place to go in and say, "Hey, Sally, thanks so much for following me here on Instagram. I'm not sure when we connected, but I just wanted to send out a little message and say, hi, thanks for being here. I'd love to know if any of my posts have resonated with you lately." And leave it at that. Give them a chance to answer. So after generating leads, weeks 3 and 4 are all about inviting people onto calls. And this is the part where most people either skip or fumble. They've had a great conversation. They've warmed the person up, but now what? So we work on how to move someone from "I'm interested" to "yes, let's get on a call." Okay, in a way that feels natural and not pushy. Because I am all about it feeling like a hell yes to everyone involved, not just for me, right? I love to talk, so I would get on a phone call with anyone. Okay, so this is not something that's scripted. I want this to be in your words. I want it to feel natural to you, because when it feels natural to you, it's so much easier to do. You're much more willing to show up if it feels good for you. So this is how you'll have a clear structure for this by the end of week 4. That's what we're working towards, is a clear structure to support your strategy in your business. Now, weeks 5 and 6 are all about closing. What do I say on the sales call? How do I handle I need to think about it? How do I ask for the sale in a way that doesn't want to make me crawl out of my skin and into my bed and under the covers and cry for days because, oh my God, I'm asking someone for money. Okay, this is thinking about how to get a yes that sticks, meaning how to help that person follow through, right? Something that is actually going to pay, that is actually going to show up, where clients are like, "Oh my God, yes, I can't believe I just found you now. I need to work with you." Okay. So all of this is inside of Telegram. I'm in there with you. You have a community of other women doing the same work at the same time. So not only is there body doubling, right? It's accountability that's built in, but also coaching, not just from me, from your peers as well. You can see the proof happening in real time. And the proof happening in real time is definitely what amplifies this, because people in there are working. So it's not like you're working alone while you're doing this. Now, the goal of this, it's not a promise, because I cannot control your actions. So my goal, my intention that I've put into this program is that you close at least one sale. You have one client come into your ecosystem before the 45 days is up. Okay. And I do this for $97. Now, some people have told me, $97? What? That's it? Other people have told me, oh my God, I can't believe you're not charging more. Okay. And I intentionally priced it at that price because, number one, I want it to be accessible, because I know that people in the coaching industry, they don't make as much as they say they do, right? Like the average income in the coaching industry is closer to like 20 to 30 grand per year on average than it is to 6 figures. Now, don't get me wrong. There are absolutely people who are 6, 7, 8-figure earners, 1,000,000%. But the higher you go, the more money you earn, the smaller the percentage is. So my goal in this is to help the people who are on the lower end, because I want you to climb the ladder. I want you to generate more money. This is what I really want you to take home in this episode. So the woman who closed her first client in over a year didn't do it because she suddenly found the right words. She did it because she had a structure, a container, and someone in her corner keeping her moving forward. She had me, she had her peers to rely on to say, hey, here's what I posted, here's what I responded. How does this sound, right? Feedback from multiple people. Now, the woman who went live and had someone asking about her services by the end of the day didn't do it because she had a perfect strategy. She did it because she showed up intentionally and she started a real conversation, a personable conversation. And this is all available to you right now. So, like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is going out on June 2nd, 2026. Okay. The clock is ticking for you to get into the June cohort. I am closing the doors on June 7th, 2026. So if you're listening to this after June 7th, you're going to have to wait till the next cohort. And I want you to click the link below. I want you to join us for Magnetic Conversations. So we started yesterday, Monday, June 1st. And it's already popping off in there, right? We're together for 45 days. It's inside of a Telegram group. Again, there's 3 phases. We're generating leads, we're inviting them to calls, and we're closing the sales. And if you're listening to this right now and you're in that window, right? If it's before June 7th, the link is down below in the show notes. If you follow me on socials, it's also in my social media handle. Go ask yourself, right? What would closing one client in the next 45 days change for you? Is that $97 investment worth that shot? I think you already know the answer. I mean, for me, it's an obvious yes. There have been so many times where I've invested in programs like my own, right? Where it's a smaller dollar amount. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give this a try. And I commit to showing up. That's where I want you to be. Okay. That's what I want you to do. There's going to be tons of bonuses that I'm adding in over these next 45 days. I'm going to be sharing a lot here on the podcast, all about how it's going, what we're doing, different things that I'm seeing, all of that stuff. So if you're curious, make sure you stick around here on the podcast. But also, more importantly, go and join the Telegram group. The link is in my bio on my social media handles. The link is also below in the show notes. As always, please make sure you like, share, review, subscribe, all the things. And I would love for you to slide into my DMs and let me know what really resonated today in this episode. So I hope you have the best day ever. I will see you all in the next episode.